If you don't happen to be Assamese, you're probably entirely ignorant about the fact that the Mughal Empire at its height was defeated by the Assamese in a place very close to Guwahati called Sarai Ghat. He's one of the great generals of Indian history. He managed somehow to coax the Mughals, who were basically cavalry and artillery guys, to fight a battle on the Brahmaputra, where obviously the Assamese had a huge advantage because they were locals. And he essentially sank the entire Mughal fleet on the Brahmaputra. It was a completely devastating defeat. The first really big defeat that the Mughals had faced in India since Humayun came back to rule Delhi. And it was absolutely devastating. After that, essentially the Mughal Empire began to fall apart. And you have, of course, the Marathas, the Bundelas and others who took over the Mughal Empire very, very quickly thereafter. Again, as I said, you probably, unless you are Assamese, have never heard of this battle of Sarai Ghat or of Lasit Borphukon. In fact, many of you may not even have heard of Baji Rao till this movie Baji Rao Mastani came through. And yet, he is one of the great generals of Indian history. The British did not conquer India from the Mughals, as our history books will suggest to you. They actually conquered it from the Marathas, who for 75 years ruled over at least 2/3 of India. In fact, Baji Rao's son, Raghunath Rao, I think his name was, ruled over an empire that was larger than that of Akbar. And yet, he is simply not there in any of our history books. And then, of course, if you don't happen to be from Kerala, you probably never heard of Martanda Varma. Now, Martanda Varma is an extremely interesting character. He was the ruler of what was then a very, very small kingdom called Travancore or Venad, which is he extended it, but when he came to power, it was essentially a principality smaller than what is now Delhi state.